I'm Aryeh Schwartz,
And I'm Rachel Galligan.
and welcome to the Winsidr Show, where it's all about the W. It's time for a midweek check-in as we get ready for the second weekend of the WNBA season. If you like our show, please consider joining our Patreon community, patreon.com/Winsidr. For less than a cup of coffee a month, you can directly show support for the hard work we do covering the W. And don't forget to see our amazing staff's written content over at winsidr.com. That's winsidr.com. Are you looking to get tickets for the WNBA season? Thanks to our sponsor, TickPick, you don't have to worry. The original no-fee ticketing site and official ticket partner of the WNBA champion Chicago Sky. Use the link tickpick.com/Winsidr for all your upcoming ticket purchases for the WNBA, NFL, NBA, or any other event. That's tickpick.com/Winsidr. It's time for a little midweek checkup, a little check-in. How you doing? How you feeling? I'm your host, Aryeh Schwartz, along with your other host, Rachel Galligan. And as we have finished the first week of WNBA games and enter into the second weekend of WNBA games, it's time to react, kind of see where our minds are at and where these teams are heading. The recent headlines of this week: Crystal Dangerfield, who was recently cut by the Minnesota Lynx, gets her revenge against them, but then is cut the next day on her birthday by the Indiana Fever. A big win last night by the Mercury when they got Diamond DeShields and Brianna Turner back. The Liberty looking out of sorts in a big-time loss against the Chicago Sky, who bounced back to be 1-1. The Washington Mystics, in a amazing defensive effort in the second half, stifle the red-hot Las Vegas Aces. And Ryan Howard is a problem as she takes down Liz Cambage and the LA Sparks. Rachel, looking back at a few of the things that have happened this week, kind of what's top of your mind? What do you want to discuss first?
I mean, let's start with Vegas and Washington, at least that one right there before we jump into the Fever. Was really, really impressed with Washington, especially that second half. Not even at full strength. Like, they didn't even have Natasha Cloud. I think Errol Adkins is playing so well. So fun to watch. Maisha Hines-Allen was so dominant. It was like as soon as everybody was ready to kind of crown Las Vegas as like this superpower, they showed that, they are human and, they can struggle. So 7 points in that third quarter was definitely the difference maker in that game. And I was just really impressed with Washington overall. I mean, I know we're just a few games in, but I've been really happy with just the way they've played. And when Deladon is out there, I mean, her production has been really good as well.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild to see. I mean, I think they're a team that no one really knows where to place them, right? Because I think a lot of media members we hope that Deladon's healthy and back, but you still like kind of view it with like is something gonna, every time she goes up for a shot or there's a couple contested in the paint buckets that she got. And I think everyone kind of had a sigh of relief when she continued walking after landing or whatever it was. It was great, but I think in all honesty, like for the Aces, this is a good loss. You don't want to, we saw it with the Connecticut Sun last season. You don't want to play your best basketball too early in the season. You want to have learning moments while still being successful and growing, but you don't want to burn out early. And I feel like an early loss against a team that likely will be in the playoffs this coming playoffs, and may or may not have to have, a series against each other. Mm-hmm. I think this is a great lesson for them, and especially for Becky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, just having to go in that type of environment, and I mean, with Washington too. I mean, we're learning more about this team every time out on the floor, and look about even some of the production. Again, we've talked about Cloud, how well she's playing, but to go out there and be that dominant, and then Tiana Hawkins was really, really good off the bench. I mean, they finished with 5 players in double figures. Katie Benson, how about that? That's a hell of a story right there. Yeah. What she's bringing to the table. I mean, 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. I mean, this is a player that, was not drafted. I mean, she was thinking about life outside of her collegiate career and professional career. And now she's in there like getting solid minutes and being extremely productive for the Mystics. So, I mean, again, first couple weeks in, we're going to say it 1,000 times. You still have to take things with somewhat of a grain of salt. I'm just enjoying the process right now of kind of watching these teams and formulating that opinion over time. And yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's ever like a good loss, but I hear what you're saying. Like, you don't want to peak and go on like this 10-game win streak and then you hit all this adversity. Every team is going to hit peaks and valleys of a season and the roller coaster of adversity that's going to come. So, yeah, definitely a learning experience for this Aces team that's still very much finding their footing.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree with you, but I don't think. Look, at the end of the day, in the 25 full seasons of the WNBA, we haven't seen anyone go undefeated. You're going to lose. Use that loss as a lesson, in the same way that you can use any obstacle as a lesson. Um, Moving on to the next topic, someone I want to talk to you about, a recent guest of our show, Ryan Howard, has looked poised, ready, and having fun with the Atlanta Dream, topping off and taking down the Giants of the LA Sparks.
Well, I just love her personality is really starting to. I mean, again, I say starting. Anyone who's followed her has known that she's had a personality, and she can also be kind of quiet, and she's just it's just fun to see her translate, what the Ryan Howard that we have known her to be to then, kind of what she is right now. Just a couple games in, but I mean, my God, that was a hell of a performance last night. In the Dreams opener, the sellout, and I was kind of questioning it at first. I was like, "How is this a sellout?" And then everyone was like, "Oh, Atlanta traffic," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a good point." And the next thing you know, like by halftime, it was pretty full in there. I mean, it looked really, really good. I'm really impressed. Like where this franchise has been in recent years, where it's felt like this desolate, just giant question mark. To now, I mean, in just such a short amount of time between the ownership, the management, the team, I mean, it really, really, really was impressed with just the entire environment and just the product on the floor. I think what I love about this dream team, and again, just a couple games in, the chemistry. You can tell that this is a team that is bought into the process. They're bought into the defensive end of the floor. They're obviously they have some talent offensively, but everybody brings something a little bit different. It's not a team jam packed full of like superstars, but they're players that are going to play hard. They're going to show up every day, work together, and you can just see it the way that they encounter one another on the floor and they're working together and just having fun. And I mean, Ryan Howard, like 21 points, 5 of 10 from the three-point line. That was the one difference in this game. I mean, it was such a back and forth game between LA and Atlanta. I think it was 12 or 14 lead changes. 12, I'm sorry, 12 lead changes. And, when you look at the box score, LA really did win a lot of categories. They got themselves to the free throw line more. They did a good job. I mean, the rebounding numbers were relatively even. They took care of the basketball. They had more steals. So that I mean, it was kind of a toss up and very comparable in the box score category. But the biggest difference was that 3-point line. And I question, at times, LA kind of sat in that zone. And I mean, Ryan Howard, like, you have to
Ate
find
it
ways
up.
to contest her better than that, and they just didn't. What we go back and talk about adjustments or whatever that might have been, but that was the biggest difference in the game, from my opinion, offensively, was how effective the Dream were from the 3-point line. And obviously, need to get a lot more production from some of the Sparks players.
Well, the interesting thing about this game was, I mean, obviously going into it, you have to be thinking about the Nia Coffey, the Erica Wheeler, and the Kennedy
So
Carter.
many storylines, yes.
So many storylines, and then for for really none of them to step up to the moment. Yes, Eric Wheeler had stuffed the stats in a variety of ways, um, but I mean Ryan Howard. She People question whether or not she was ready to be a WNBA superstar. I think she's ready. The question is, when's the league going to open their eyes to it? Because yes, it's only 2 games in, but more than the stats she's putting up, more than the effort she's putting in, you can just see the confidence in the way that she plays. And when young players who have that skill set are doing that, good things are going to come as long as they can stay healthy, hopefully. Um, Want to talk about the Fever getting that dub over the
How
Minnesota
about
Lynx?
that?
You called it.
I know you were upset. I called it. I'm very proud of that one.
They blew it. I mean, whatever. Like, whatever. You keep. I could go on for days. I feel like we've spent a lot of time
You've
on
said
recent
it. You've
podcasts.
said it. I'm going to keep reminding you. You've said it multiple times. It is going to be a rough start for the Minnesota Lynx. And literally, I mean, we're just living it. It's exactly what
Yeah.
you predicted. So, can you really be that upset? I mean, it's three
Right.
games in, and no, it's not pretty. But this also isn't Indiana of the past couple years.
Fair, fair. Yeah. I mean, we can't view them from that same perspective. A big win for them. We saw like I mean, look, the funny thing for me and the other thing was watching the game. Like obviously there's like if you're always going to have that deep down like look, gun to my head, Minnesota Lynx versus like a random team, I'm gonna prefer the Lynx to win because I want, my hometown team to have wins. Fine. Same respect. I'm sitting there and my wife turns to me and she's like, "Are you mad they're gonna lose?" And I'm like, "Well, not really, because you look at what Crystal Dangerfield's doing, like you kind of gotta feel good for her. What
Hmm.
Crystal Dangerfield did is what she did for the Minnesota Lynx. Like, yeah, some questionable plays early in the first half, come the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter, she's going to make the buckets and the plays to win games, and she did that. And the Fever won. Now the Fever don't have her anymore. But look, I mean, it's like seeing your ex as you're like walking out the
Well,
gym looking amazing or something
yeah,
like
I mean,
that,
I'm
or
just
you know what
happy.
I mean?
Yeah, I'm just happy for Indiana, to get a little bit of confidence and get in the win column and like prove like, hey, we can be disruptive in this league. And yeah, we're gonna have to learn how to win close games. Yeah, we're gonna have to learn to win games against powerhouses. I mean, that's a whole long ass journey that we will be talking about for a while now. But I was really impressed with Henderson and Dangerfield. 11 assists, 0 turnovers combined. It's a really impressive stat. Let's focus more on Minnesota. I mean, listen,
There's not much to focus on
Sylvia
there.
Fowles, 26 points, 14
Well,
rebounds, and Jessica
the
Shepard looks
frustrating
good.
part,
That's about it.
Rachel, the frustrating part is like in the first two games, there was points where like what, like all right, game one, second half, fine, you pull Sill and Powers. Powers' shot has continuously still just been off. She's trying to do too much, and you know when Sill's putting up those stats and playing as good as she was, you had complaints in the first two games like, oh well, if Sill's not in there, how do you expect this team to win? Fine, blah blah blah. Still put in good minutes in this game, and just end of the day, the rest of the team couldn't get it done, couldn't
Yeah.
produce enough points. Not much more to talk about there.
Nope.
They did today announce the hardship signing because what I assume is Odyssey Sims' personal matter is going to take a little bit longer time. So they signed Avina Westbrook, who had a great showing in preseason for the Seattle Storm. Um, and yeah, definitely an interesting situation for Minnesota. But how about real quick the Liberty Sky game?
Whew.
Emma Mieseman looking fluid in the Chicago Sky uniform, looking great in the Chicago Sky uniform, playing alongside Candace
I
Parker
mean,
and Vandersloot.
Chicago looked. I don't know where to start with. I mean, Chicago looked like how they should look against a team that doesn't feel like playing right now. Like I mean, I think the biggest storyline was Rebecca Gardner.
Yeah,
Finally getting a shot after all these years as a rookie. I think she's 31. Came out like I think it was like the first play of the game. Like caught it on the wing, ripped it, went laid it up, and it was like boom, here we go, setting the tone. So really, really enjoyed watching Rebecca Gardner and like I can understand, why Wade was talking about okay, just wait till you guys see her over here and what she brings to this team. To me, the most concerning thing is the Liberty. I mean, um, I can't remember. It was just so uninspiring. Like they just seemed low energy. People looked a little bit out of
lethargic.
lethargic. They looked out of shape. Yeah, 2 of 15 from the 3 point line, 13%. I mean, it was just 9 points in the first quarter, 8 points in the second quarter. I don't know. I'm not like panicking by any stretch, but good lord, that was a brutal performance.
Brutal. They need Dee Dee back on the court to lead that second lineup. They need her energy back. I mean, in general, I mean this team, yeah,
When when
out of
Hanzu
sorts.
is leading you and the only player with double figures, I mean, again, that's great for her, but like
That's a bad
She played
sign.
9
Yeah.
minutes, 10 points. Okay, that's the one bright spot on this from that game. Besides maybe Jocelyn Willoughby, being efficient from the floor, but I just yeah, that was rough. I think the biggest thing now is kind of paying attention to okay, you go out there and you perform like that in Chicago. Now, you got Indiana coming into home on Friday, and that's going to be. It's like, how is this team going to respond? To me, that's what I'm paying attention to. It's too early to kind of like make any long term judgments about this team, but how are they going to respond with the Fever coming in?
Yeah, got to agree. And that's the perfect segue for us to speak about Pick'em, where, I mean, just to start off this
Yeah,
season,
what's
I'm
the
embarrassed. Oh
total
my
here? I would
God.
like to know.
As of today, the 12th, Rachel is standing at, excuse me, a record of 7-2.
Wow.
And I, Arya, am sitting at a record of 4-5. Yeah. But
Listen, it's a
come
long season.
it's a long season. I'm gonna charge back into this one. Let's get it going. Washington Mystics taking on the Dallas Wings,
I mean, we haven't. I feel like we haven't even seen Dallas play. Like
right?
I don't know. I would think that they would want to respond. I would think they're going to perform a little bit better. But yeah, I don't know that they have the consistency right now to be able to beat Washington the way I've seen them play. So I'm going Mystics.
Yeah, I agree. You have to assume it's Washington. I mean, I think I have one chance where we can split here because Aces at Dream. I have to assume we're both going Aces.
Yes, yes.
Uh, Indy at New York.
You know, I think New York's going to respond. Um, I don't know though. I've been really it's really fun to watch Indiana play. They're playing really really hard, and so for me to just pick New York to beat them after what we saw last night seems risky. Um, but again, I don't think you can have that putrid of a performance back to back. I'm going to go New York.
So
It's a
I'm
tough one.
annoyed
That's
here.
a tough one.
Well, I mean, I would totally. I kind of assumed you were gonna ride the hot hand and go Fever, which I was excited for. The only reason I'm going New York also, even though I really want to go against you on this, is because they brought D Rob back, um, and Elena Coates back, and they lost Crystal Dangerfield. So I think I'm not a fan of what that does to either side of their court.
Mm-hmm.
Then on Saturday, we don't have any games on Friday. Wow. Saturday, May 14th, Storm versus Mercury. Again, a
Again,
repeat.
yeah.
Who are you going for?
I mean, I don't know where we're at with the COVID protocols of things. I think Seattle bounces back. Storm.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. Annoyingly, we keep agreeing
Ooh, now
here.
this is the
Fine.
good one. This I think we might differ on this one.
All right, Sparks versus the Sun. Who you got?
I'm going Connecticut.
No, we're not differing. Like,
Damn it!
obviously, I'm going Connecticut. Connecticut's gonna bounce back from that atrocious opening. It's their home opener.
You don't think LA
This,
can bounce back?
I think it's going to be a closer game, but I think like when you boil it down to the fact that LA's 3-1, they have to be like, yeah, they just lost.
All right.
But they're 2-1, 3-1, whatever. Like they're gonna sit there and go, yeah, we lost. We didn't want to lose to Atlanta. Upset about that. Fine. I think it's going to be a very telling game for LA, right? Because home opener for Connecticut, coming off a really bad loss. Now you have time
Yeah.
to get ready and get better.
Yep.
Um, I you know I just think we're not going to see Connecticut. Like Connecticut's the team that I picked as the favorites to run it this year. So I guess we're both going Connecticut. All right. Chicago Sky versus Minnesota Lynx.
Sky.
You know what? Yes, obviously, yeah. But I'm just gonna. They're gonna win by like. Can I pick the Lynx? But if they don't lose by like 20,
No.
I know.
Pick the Lynx, and then I'll go back and I'll pick the Fever over New York. We'll mix it up.
Okay, deal.
Like we
MN for
can't all we can't
me.
agree on everything. I'm going
Yep.
Fever over New York, and you pick Minnesota. Somehow we're gonna beat Chicago. That's a bold one.
There we go. There we go. I appreciate you being willing to do this because often I'm the one who's always going hard at it. Um, and picking the challenging ones. All right, one last one. Hopefully, we'll you'll hear our voices again. But I figure just because it's all the
Well, yeah,
weekend.
do we do the Sunday games? Might as well.
Yeah, I say we do the Sunday games.
All right.
Those will be our last ones. Worst case, because
We've just got two.
maybe we have a little guest come on over the weekend. Maybe we don't. But all right, here we go. Sunday games. Wings at Liberty. Uh, I'll go first, and I'll go Wings.
Yeah,
Okay,
man. Okay. Jesus. I want to go Wings too, but I'll go Liberty just to be different.
sweet. And then we got Dream versus Fever. An interesting one.
Ooh.
Oh, now this one's gonna split it.
Ooh, I'm going Dream.
Damn it. All right, then I'll go Fever.
Okay.
No, I'm fully on the Dream. But no, I'm not even going Fever. I'm going Dream. I'm not. We have enough that we're splitting. I think we can both go
The
for it.
amount of basketball that we will learn between Friday and Saturday before we get to
Well,
Sunday is like it's too much. Like we're really stretching it out here, but hey, that's all right.
yeah, no, it's all good. That's just the way we do it. Thanks for listening, folks. We'll be back. And if you got any questions, any thoughts, anything you want to hear on the podcast, let us know. Rachel, what's our closeout line?
Bye everybody. Talk to you soon.